Look, let's be honest for a second. Are you constantly trying to memorize the absolute latest, greatest AI prompt? Because if you are, you probably feel like the exact second you finally master a specific command for a language model, a new update rolls out and completely changes the rules on you. Right? Well, if you're feeling overwhelmed by all of this, you are definitely not alone. The truth is, trying to learn AI by just memorizing software features is, well, it's a frustrating, losing game.
Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're tuning in today because we are going to explore something pretty amazing together. We are literally pulling back the curtain on how Anthropic, one of the top AI companies in the world, actually trains its very own team. They've just released their internal playbook to the public through a brand new platform called Claude Academy. And seeing how the builders do this, it completely flips the script on how we should all be approaching AI education.
Okay, so here is the game plan for today's Explainer. First, we'll look at the AI learning curve. Then, inside Anthropic's playbook. After that, mindsets over memorization, followed by the 4 Ds of AI fluency. And finally, supercharging your learning. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The AI learning curve. Overwhelmed by the pace of change? So, right now, millions of us are trying to figure out how to safely and effectively use AI. We all want the same things, right? We want to reduce our manual work, we want to upskill, and we want to unlock totally new ways of working. But the tech is just moving at this crazy exponential rate. And here's the core of Anthropic's philosophy to handle that. The goal of learning AI is absolutely not just to automate a few boring emails. True AI instruction has to increase your human agency. It's about empowering you to make informed decisions about how AI actually shows up in your day-to-day work. It shouldn't replace your core skills. It should expand your capabilities so you have the agency to direct the tech purposefully.
Section 2. Inside Anthropic's playbook. How the builders learn.
Okay, so how do we actually get to that level of human agency? Well, to bridge this education gap, Anthropic launched Claude Academy. And what's brilliant here is that this public platform is a direct mirror of their own internal employee onboarding. At Anthropic, the journey to AI fluency kicks off literally on day 1 for every single employee. That just shows you how deeply woven AI is into their daily culture. They don't just throw a one-off workshop at you and say, good luck. They have what they playfully call everboarding. These always-on programs to constantly keep the team updated on new capabilities. They even use AI-moderated channels to give instant answers so the human employees can stay focused on the deep work. Continuous learning isn't a perk for them, it's mandatory.
I actually want to read you this quote from their release because I just love it. Learning to use AI well should open up new doors and opportunities for students. Our learning materials are designed to help learners solve the problems they care about most. Think about how profound that is for a second. True AI education is 100% focused on solving real-world problems. It forces you to be super mindful about which of your own skills you want to keep practicing so you don't experience skill atrophy. Basically, you are in the driver's seat actively deciding what not to delegate.
Section 3. Mindsets over memorization. Why prompts become obsolete. You know those rigid, paragraph-long prompts you spent hours learning last year? The reason they're already becoming obsolete is that these models are updating way too fast for rigid rules to survive. Look at the stark contrast here between the old method and Anthropic's new philosophy. The old way? That was all about memorizing specific commands, like always making sure to say, describe your audience, or act like a legal professional. But with the newest models, if you don't provide that context up front, the AI will literally just ask you for it. So instead of rote memorization, Anthropic is teaching us to cultivate broad, durable mindsets that naturally adapt no matter which model you happen to be using today. To really drive this concept home, they use this fantastic, totally counterintuitive saying, today's AI is the worst AI you'll ever use. It's kind of funny, but it's a very real reminder. These models are only ever going to get smarter and more capable from this exact second forward. If you anchor your entire learning process to today's limitations, your skills are going to expire almost instantly. Flexible thinking is absolutely the name of the game.
So, because the models are always evolving, the most crucial thing you can do is practice those durable mindsets. A perfect example is the rule, verify in proportion to the stakes. This principle totally grounds you in exercising good, human judgment regardless of how the product features change. Think about it. If you're asking AI to spit out a quick weeknight dinner recipe, the stakes are super low. Who cares if it gets a measurement slightly wrong? But if you're using it to analyze highly sensitive financial data, the stakes are incredibly high, and your human verification step has to scale right up with it.
Section 4. The 4 Ds of AI fluency. The core framework.
All right, this is where things get incredibly practical for us. This is the exact foundational framework Anthropic teaches their employees. The first D is delegation, and this is all about making highly intentional decisions. Picture yourself working on a massive company memo. Delegation is you consciously saying, you know what, I need to draft the sensitive parts of this memo myself to make sure the nuance is perfect, but I will gladly hand off the tedious job of building the summary slides to Claude. It's knowing exactly where your unique human touch is required.
Moving on, the second D is description. Simply put, this is your ability to effectively explain your problem, your context, and your desired output to the AI. And notice how this stems straight out of those flexible mindsets we just covered. It's not about digging for some magic secret prompt, it's just about clear, thoughtful communication, exactly like you'd use if you were messaging a real human colleague on Slack.
The third D is discernment. You have to build an accurate mental model of what AI actually can and cannot do. You need to understand its boundaries, things like context limits and working memory, because if you know exactly where the AI usually tends to stumble or hallucinate, you can review its work so much more effectively when it hands a task back to you.
And the final D is diligence. Guys, this one is absolutely critical. Safe and effective AI use actually extends into the moments after you close the chat window. Diligence means taking the time to thoroughly review the AI-generated work and ethically disclosing how you used it to produce your documents or analyses before sharing them with your team. At the end of the day, transparency is what builds trust.
Section 5, Supercharging Your Learning, Entering Claude Academy.
So now that we've unpacked the philosophy and the 4 Ds, how do we turn this into an actionable plan? Well, step 1, identify a real actual problem you face at work or in your personal life. Please don't just learn in a vacuum. It won't stick. Step 2, get in there and practice with Claude Academy's interactive tutorials. Real learning takes active effort and tinkering. And step 3, constantly reflect on what tasks should stay on your plate so you protect your own hard-earned skills.
And here's the best part. If you head over to academy.claude.com right now, you are going to find a massive amount of value, and it's all completely free, open access. If you want to master that framework we just talked about, they have full courses on the AI Fluency framework. Looking for specific technical details? They've got dedicated product guides for tools like Claude Code, Tag, and Cowork. And if you really want to geek out, there are these fantastic deep dives into the core properties of AI, exploring exactly where the models shine and where they hit a wall.
But here is the ultimate takeaway for you today. Once you learn how to use AI effectively, like once you truly internalize those mindsets and the 4 Ds, it doesn't just make you a better AI user. It acts as a supercharger to help you upskill on literally anything else. Trying to wrap your head around a dense, complicated topic? You can just have Claude act as your learning partner for a Socratic discussion, or ask it to draw out a detailed diagram. You can learn anything, and you can learn it way faster. So I want to leave you with this provocation to chew on as you go about the rest of your day. What specific tasks are you going to purposefully delegate to AI today? And maybe more importantly, what are you going to intentionally keep for yourself to protect and hone your own human expertise? It is a tricky balance, but it's one we all have to strike now. I highly recommend checking out Claude Academy to start intentionally designing your relationship with AI. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep learning.